Hello and welcome back to Bicyclelegs and another edition of Anniversary Albums. Today we're going to be looking at albums that are having a significant anniversary in the month of October of 2022. This is the first anniversary of my channel too, so happy anniversary to Bicyclelegs. Thank you for everybody who's come along for the ride so far, and hopefully there'll be many more years to come. So yes, we're going to be looking at albums that are having significant anniversary in the month of October 2022. For those who are new to the anniversary album concept, when I say a significant anniversary, I'm talking about anniversary that ends in a 0 or a 5, so 50th, 35th, 20th, 25th, that sort of thing. So again, had a lot to choose from this month. It was very hard to keep this down to 10. So I know there's going to be a lot that I've left out that you're going to want me to have talked about. So please let me know in the comments which ones I've left out that you wanted me to talk about. Anyway, let's get into it. And we're going to start with an album that is having its 40th anniversary in the month of October. It was released on the 1st of October 1982. And that is The Nightfly by Donald Fagen. His first solo album after the initial breakup of Steely Dan. Now, this was really my introduction to his music. I didn't know Steely Dan. I was a bit young. They broke up when I was only sort of 9. This album came out and I originally bought the IGY single and loved it, absolutely loved it. And I still do. I think it's a wonderful song. But there's other really good songs on here. Walk Between Raindrops, which is the last song in the album, is actually the B-side of the IGY single. But, you know, Green Flower Street, Ruby Baby, Maxine, The Nightfly. It's just a wonderful album. Really good. I love it. And it was my introduction to that style of music, that sort of Steely Dan style. So always have a soft spot for that album. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 45th anniversary in the month of October. It was released on the 3rd of October 1977, and that is probably ELO's Magnum Opus, Out of the Blue. Double album. Probably my favourite ELO album. Hard to tell. I will have to do an ELO ranking one of these days, and it's going to be a tough one because I really do like a lot of their albums. But I mean, this has got Mr. Blue Sky on it, and it's got, you know, it's got Turn to Stone, it's got Sweet Talking Woman, it's got Night in the City, Big Wheels, Birmingham Blues. It's just so much on these two albums that make up this double album set. As I say, probably their magnum opus. It's sort of like their biggest work. Wonderful album. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 30th anniversary in the month of October. It was originally released on the 5th of October 1992, and that is Automatic for the People by R.E.M. Really good later sort of period R.E.M. album for me. I think of anything from sort of the 90s onwards as sort of later period R.E.M. I think of the 80s stuff as the early stuff for R.E.M. But this album, I mean, it has the huge hit Everybody Hurts on it, but it's also got Drive, it's got the Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight, it's got Sweetness Follows, Monty Got a Raw Deal, Starmy Kitten, New Orleans Instrumental #1, Night Swimming. Man on the Moon, another big hit on this album. So really good R.E.M. album. This one and the next one, probably the last truly great R.E.M. albums for mine, but that's just me. Now the next album's having its 50th anniversary in the month of October. So it's a big one. It was originally released on the 6th of October 1972. It is a legendary progressive rock album, and that is Foxtrot by Genesis. I mean, what can be said about this album that hasn't already been said? It's a wonderful album. I have done a Genesis studio albums ranked, so if you haven't already watched that, go and give that a look. This came pretty high in my list. Not quite number one, but pretty high in my list. It's got Watcher of the Skies. It's got Supper's Ready. I mean, just what a wonderful way to bookend an album. Watcher of the Skies at the beginning, Supper's Ready at the end. But it's also got Can Utility and the Coastliners, and it's got Timetable, and it's got Get 'Em Out by Friday. Really wonderful early Genesis album. One that took me a bit of time to really get into. I heard Nursery Crime before I heard this one, and Nursery Crime instantly grabbed me. This one took a few listens before it grabbed me, but when it did, I was hooked. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 40th anniversary in the month of October. It was originally released on the 13th of October 1982. It is my favourite Kiss album, Creatures of the Night. Came after the debacle that was The Elder, although I really like The Elder. I do tend to like Kiss albums that other fans don't. This is not one of them though. A lot of Kiss fans really like this album. It's probably Kiss's heaviest album. Just wonderful. I remember when the single I Love It Loud came out, and I loved that instantly. The film clip for that's so much fun too. But you've got Creatures of the Night, the title track, which is great. Saint and Sinner, Rock and Roll Hell, I Still Love You. Probably the best Kiss power ballad ever. You've got Killer, you've got War Machine. Although he wasn't credited as a player, and he was under his sort of real name, as it were, as a songwriter, you have Vinnie Vincent for the first time with Kiss on this album. I mean, even though Ace is on the cover there's no Ace on this album at all, unfortunately. But still a fabulous, heavy Kiss album. Really love it. The next album we're going to have a look at is also having its 40th anniversary. I have a few 40th anniversaries in a row coming up here. It was released on the 16th of October 1982. Again, probably my favourite album by this particular artist. That is Shabu Shabar by InXS, their third album. The first one to start to get them noticed overseas, because it had the song The One Thing on it, which actually was a minor hit in the US. But it's also got To Look At You, which is a just absolutely wonderful song. It's got Spy of Love, Soul Mistake, Black and White's another really good song that was released as a single, Jan's song, and then Don't Change at the end. Oh, I adore that song. What a beautiful song. Another album having its 40th anniversary in the month of October was released on the 21st of October 1982. And that is, oh no, it's Devo. Their fifth album. The end of a just absolutely stellar period of Devo. Those first 5 Devo albums to me are all killer, no filler. This is no exception. I was a big Devo fan in 1982. They were one of the very first bands I ever started following. I will definitely be doing a Devo ranking soon on the channel. You've got Time Out for Fun. You've got Peekaboo. Peekaboo, one of the best singles Devo ever released. Out of Sync, Explosions. That's Good was another single which I really like. Patterns, underrated song on this album. Big Mess is my favourite song on this album. I think that song is fabulous. Speed Racer, What I Must Do, I Desire, the controversial song I Desire because the lyrics were based on poetry that was written by John Hinckley, who tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan in an attempt to get the attention of Jodie Foster, who he was stalking. And the lyrics are a little stalkery, but it works in the Devo context. And then Deep Sleep to finish the album. As I say, this was sort of like the last just perfect Devo album for me. The other Devo albums that came after it, some are good, some are really good. None of them quite get up to the quality of those first 5 albums for me. The next album, also having its 40th anniversary in the month of October, was released on the 27th of October 1982, and that is 1999 by Prince. Now, I originally became aware of Prince with the previous album, Controversy, and the title track from that album. But then this album, he really sort of became big here in Australia. I'm not sure whether he was already big in America or what have you. But you have, I mean, the first 2 songs, both big singles. The title track, 1999, and then Little Red Corvette. But then you've got Delirious, you've got Let's Pretend We're Married, Something in the Water Does Not Compute, Automatic, Free, Lady Cab Driver. I mean, there's just wonderful songs in this album. This is a great Prince, funky as hell album. Absolutely love it. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 50th anniversary in the month of October. It was originally released on the 27th of October 1972, and that is Talking Book by Stevie Wonder. I mean, this is an album that came out during his quote-unquote classic period, and I mean, it's hard to argue that his classic period isn't the best work he ever did. It absolutely is. But I like some of the earlier stuff too, and even some of the 80s stuff is really good too. So I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan. But I mean, this has got Superstition on it. The funkiest use of a clavinet ever, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely fabulous song. But it's also got the gorgeous You Are the Sunshine of My Life. And it's got Tuesday Heartbreak, Maybe Your Baby, You've Got It Bad Girl, and then on the other side it's got Blame It on the Sun, Big Brother, Looking for Another Pure Love, and then I Believe When I Fall in Love It Will Be Forever. Beautiful song. Absolutely gorgeous way to end the album. Love this Stevie Wonder album. Beautiful stuff. If I do a Stevie Wonder show, it'll probably be a top 10 because I don't have all of his albums, and he's done so many albums, it would be very hard to rank them all. But I definitely am interested in doing a top 10 Stevie Wonder at some stage. Now, the last album we're going to talk about, I can't really do a ranking on this band because they only ever did one album. It's having its 45th anniversary in the month of October, released on the 28th of October 1977. That's the UK release date. And it is Never Mind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. I mean, an album that absolutely changed the face of music. Punk already existed. There'd already been a couple of punk albums before this. There'd certainly, the Damned had released singles before the Sex Pistols got their singles out. And like the Sex Pistols released 3 singles before they put their album out. But I mean, this has got Holidays in the Sun, which is my favourite Sex Pistols song. I adore that song. But it's also got the big hits Anarchy in the UK and God Save the Queen and Pretty Vacant. But you've also got Liar. You've also got New York. You've got 17, EMI Unlimited Edition, Bodies. What an absolutely devastating track Bodies is. No Feelings. Just an incredible, seminal punk album. There's no other way to sure, it gets overhyped and whatever, but it's over, this album, I don't think you can overhype this album. It was so important. Such an incredible album. So that's my anniversary albums for the month of October 2022. Please let me know in the comments which ones of these are your favourites. Please let me know which ones I left out, because I know I left out a bunch. Sometimes you guys surprise me and think of albums that I didn't even think of, so I really love it when you do that. So please let me know in the comments which albums you think I should have included that I didn't. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please go and have a look at some of my other videos. I've got everything playlisted, so if you want to look at some of my other anniversary albums, there's a playlist for that. If you want to look at my studio albums rank shows, there's a playlist for that. My favorite albums of all time, playlist for that. My In Defense of shows, playlist for that, etc., etc. Also, if you would like to help the channel out, I am currently doing a GoFundMe at the moment, so that I can raise money to get a Zoom professional account so that I can start having guests on the channel. You may not know this, but I'm actually on a disability pension, so I don't have a lot of money. It really would help out. Leave a link in the description for the GoFundMe. If you could throw me $5 or $10, really would, I'd appreciate it so much. And I thank everybody who has already donated. You guys are great. Love it. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at bicyclelegs on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, I'm mostly posting the records I happen to be listening to at the time, as well as posting channel updates. On Twitter, I talk about everything and anything, including my terrible Wordle scores and my much better Beatle scores. But I am trying to give that more of a music focus as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.